Hello guys and gals and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be going over another one of the Barbarian uniques, and this one is a fiery one, a very fiery one indeed, as you can clearly see from the burning Hellhammer on my back, and it's literally called the Hellhammer. It's not even, I wasn't even making that up, it was just, that's a name. The Hellhammer is a unique two-handed mace, which is, let's go over it together, shall we? So it can roll as sacred and ancestral, and it drops in world tier 3 and world tier 4. And if you're looking to farm this particular unique, there is a tool linked down in the description that can help you out with that. It's a unique farming tool. This one does go up to 820 item power, so you're probably going to be looking for 820. The thing about the unique weapons, or just weapons in general, is that weapons are more affected by item power than anything else. While you can technically have a lower item power ring, or a lower item power amulet, or a lower item power, armor, that's okay. But you can't really have a lower item power weapon, because the weapon DPS is very strongly related to its item power, which does make this unfortunate, because even if you do happen to find one of these, even if you do happen to get your hands on this Hellhammer, well, it might not be worth using. This one at 793 is close, but it's not quite what you would want. You would want something more closer to 810, 820 for your final weapon. In fact, for your final weapon, you would definitely want an 820 upgraded 5 times to 825, or 820 plus 25, which is going to get you a pretty nice 845 total. Now, this weapon does come with overpower damage because it is a mace, so all maces have overpower damage. That's just an inherent ability. If you haven't been paying attention, certain weapons have inherent abilities, like the two-handed sword has crit damage, and the axe has damage to healthy enemies, and so forth and so on. Throat's dry. But the two-handed hammers have overpower damage. That's what they're for. We also have 15% damage with two-handed weapons, which these effects do scale, by the way, when you upgrade them. So after you upgrade this, they will go up. 15% damage with two-handed weapons, which does vary from 14 to 28%. 24% damage to crowd-controlled enemies, which does vary from 19 to 33%, which does play into Upheaval's stun that it causes. And I'm pretty sure, yes, it causes a 20% chance to stun all enemies that have damage, 2.5 seconds. And we also have 16% damage to burning enemies, which is interesting. It does vary between 14 to 28%, and the crowd control varies from 19 to 33%. The damage reduction from enemies that are burning varies from 5.9 to 11.3%, and this one's currently at 9. And that one's kind of cool because it's just a defensive mechanic, so as long as enemies are burning, you're getting a damage reduction versus them. And the entire purpose of this is to make enemies burn. And that is the special effect. So the special effect is Upheaval ignites the ground, burning enemies for an additional 2,816. So 2,484 to 3,313 damage over 3 seconds. Now, because this is a flat damage modifier, this does go up when you upgrade it. So again, when I was talking earlier about wanting to make sure that you had one that was, a higher item power, this also comes into play for the burning damage that's on the item. Now, if you take this and you upgrade it, what you'll notice is that 2,816 goes up to, let's see here, 2,928, and then sure how high we could potentially get it. I don't want to waste my beautiful silver ore, but it will actually go up. As you can see, it's already gone up once or twice. Now, the item power is a strong proponent in how much that actually does. So if you do happen to find an 820 and you upgrade it 5 times to 845, the burning damage is going to be much higher than what I currently have here, which is only a 793 plus 10 at the moment. It does also have some flavor text. So the Demon Prince Iconoth slew hundreds of the heavenly host with his infernal hammer before falling to none other than the Archangel Imperius himself. So let's go outside and let's see how this effect works. First, we'll try it with a regular hammer so you can see how Upheaval works without, utilizing the hammer. And then we're going to try it with the hammer, and we're going to see the difference. So obviously I've got to build some Fury first. So as you can see, it's a nice AoE attack. It seems to do pretty interesting conal damage. I would definitely say it's a cone attack, but no special damage type there. It's just, as you can see, it's just an AoE attack. I like these guys because I can just build off of them. Now, because it is a Fury Spender, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get the maximum damage out of it. You're going to have something to build with or some way to make sure that you're getting that back. Now, let's take a look at it with the Hellhammer. So with the Hellhammer, as you can see, it puts a nice little burny effect on the ground, which is actually kind of cool, not going to lie. It does a pretty interesting amount of burning damage, too, to everything within range. Turns it into even more of an AoE attack, which is pretty cool. Although I have to wonder, like, just, you know, just as a kind of like a curious thing, is it worth using it over, say, like Rend, that also has a bleed, you know, a bleed versus a burning attack? I don't know. Like, it does seem really interesting, though. I mean, the way that it AoE, frontal conal AoEs is certainly not terrible. The burning effect is certainly not bad either. It offers an additional way for you to add damage to yourself. And on top of this, I believe there actually is a super unique. Let me actually go grab this real quick. Just I'm not even built for upheaval, but it's kind of funny to use it. Alright, let's back out of here real quick. And I just want to take a look at something real quick, because I do have all of my super unique items on a mule. These super unique rares are these very interesting rares, and I'm pretty sure there's a burning damage item in that list. So let me go over to the trap set real quick, because I'm pretty sure she has them all on her. I don't know why my camera is pointing at the chinchilla cage, but you guys can get a view of the chaunchies. A view of the chaunchies. Chinchillas. I make fun of their name all the time. That's what I do. Alright, so here we go. I'm pretty sure it's like a sword or something, or there's a mace. I think it's a mace. That's what it is. Yes, damage to burning enemies. So this could be an interesting choice to go along with it, because it would give you the ability to add burning damage into your upheaval build. I know it only has 3 doojanks on it, but you can also get it in a really nice high item power. So you could maybe use it with like a frenzy build or something like that. Frenzy / upheaval, or I don't know. I think a lot of people are using Flay these days, though, for the vulnerable effect, because it is pretty nice, to be perfectly honest. Now, upheaval is an interesting item, but it does have some drawbacks, and I'd like to talk about those as well real quick. So the first and the biggest drawback is the fact that you're losing access to a... You're losing access to what is basically one of your best legendary aspect slots. So if you're unaware, you know, two-handed weapons basically get double the legendary aspect whenever you put it on there. So like, for instance, this one right here, which is the Rapid Horned Cudgel, gives me a basic skills gain attack speed of 30 to 60%. Well, it's only 30% on a one-hander. So I could get it up to 60% for the two-hander, right? Well, putting on one of these unique two-hander items, any of them, doesn't really matter which one we're talking about, whether we're talking about Overkill or Fields of Crimson or Hellhammer, is going to technically lose you that two-handed aspect slot. So you also have to factor in the fact that you're losing access to a aspect slot that is one of your most powerful. On top of this, because, like I said, it is a unique item that you have to find in a high item power, a lot of the times a high item power weapon is just going to be a better option in general. So, like, for instance, if you were an upheaval barbarian or just using a two-handed mace in general, finding a very nice, like, 820 or plus sword or, you know, hammer or whatever it is that you're looking for is probably going to be better than using a crappy version of a unique item. And this is just simply because of the item power difference in basically how strongly it changes the way your character runs. it will essentially make it so that your character is just going to be much weaker unless you have a good version of the item. And that's what you really need. You need a good version of the item. I'm not entirely sure if this one is one that you can build an entire character around, but Upheaval definitely does seem very interesting. I do like the AoE frontal cone. I do like the fact that it hits multiple targets and stuns them. And I also kind of like this burning effect as well. I feel like you would have to lean into the burning effect, though. Like, I feel like you would literally have to build for burning. Damage reduction from enemies that are burning would also be very useful as well. And, damage to burning enemies. I mean, Upheaval has some interesting choices, so you can go with the option that will basically give you, like, unlimited berserking, which is very nice. So as long as you're hitting an enemy, as long as you're hitting something, you should be able to get berserking. On the other side of the equation is the dealing direct damage to an enemy with a skill that is not Upheaval causes your next cast of Upheaval to deal increased damage, stacking up to 10 times. Which is something that you could very easily build up with something like Frenzy or Flay, which means that you get additional damage out of the skill as well. I mean, it is an interesting skill, and I could totally see building a character around it. And if you had an 820 version of the Hellhammer, could make a very interesting choice for Upheaval because it adds an additional burning damage onto it for 3 seconds, which could come in handy if you build toward burning damage. If you have, items that give enhanced burning damage, if you can manage to find, I would probably use that Mace of the Blazing Fury to enhance the burning damage there as well. I would definitely replace 1 or 2 of the effects, though, try and get some vulnerable damage on there. And, I don't know. It's not something I think I would just use, but it's definitely something that I could see building a whole character around. And I think that's what this really comes down to, is if you find this and you want to build an Upheaval Barbarian, like, you can build around it. But I wouldn't probably just slam it on any Barbarian and just try and utilize it. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, even when we're talking about the Hellhammer. And as always, keep watching.